was. It was sort of Questions?
Probably would come next week. Technology is not. My name is Lydia Larson, and I am from the U.S. I was born in New Jersey, just outside New York City, but I grew up sort of all over the country. We moved a lot when we were kids, and so one of the major themes of my work is rootlessness, sort of a sense of without a home or without a place to settle down. And I'll talk more about that later. I went to school at Montclair State University, is where I did my Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Painting. And I did my graduate work in Michigan at Kendall College of Art and Design. And since then, I've done a lot of traveling. I've become heavily involved in doing residencies abroad as a way to see the world, know the world. Painting for me is a way to know the world. This is an earlier painting. I am primarily an oil painter, and this is from the year 2009. My family was very nomadic. We would sometimes move once or twice per year to a different state within the US. And so my early work was really a reflection of how I felt. I was using dresses and clothing as a symbol of self. I often felt very small. So this painting is entitled Swept, and it portrays the sensation of being swept up in a new space. So a lot of my early work had a lot of landscape elements. I started thinking about creating these worlds that were more like emotional and psychological spaces. This painting called Kingdom, I was thinking a lot about a longing for a whole, just the feeling of needing wholeness, and how I felt like my life and the world was heavily fragmented. I think in my early work, I painted these when I was a student in graduate school. I was reading a lot of philosophy, I was looking at a lot of artists, and I was desperately trying to understand my place as an artist in the art world, and also just who I was and my place in the world, and wanting to pull together lots of pieces of many things. In 2010, I studied abroad in Florence, Italy. It was my first time abroad, and it really affected me. The work that I was making at the time had a lot to do with movement. I was interested in spaces that changed, that were changed over time. Visiting Italy, of course, I saw a lot of ruins in Rome and in Florence. This is an old amphitheater that was crumbling down. I wanted to paint spaces that would change over time. Along the same lines, these are campers, little trailers where you would take into the mountains or something on vacation and stay for a time. I never really felt settled growing up, and I just felt like things could change at any moment. In these paintings, I was creating that emotional space where there's a gathering for a time, and there's landscape elements that are changing, like a river eroding away sand. I became heavily interested in mixing a lot of symbolism. I was taking pieces of my life. I was taking pieces of things I was reading at the time. I was taking from pieces of art history, of things I was seeing, anything became part inspiration to mix and create a new image. Again, I was painting a lot of tents, spaces where people set up home for a very short period of time. Landscape was important to me just because of how many miles I had traveled, how much I had seen. I was also really interested in stories and mythology and very, very old legends about the world and how people have always been traveling, people have always been changing, life has always been temporary. I was putting a lot of figures in very precarious situations. There was a sense of danger, a sense of urgency, a sense of running, of chaos. I was reading a lot about my own family history. My family is from Finland, and they were, my grandparents, they were nomadic people, they were reindeer herders. I was mixing a lot of symbolism. The chords and the lights that became a part of my painting was a symbol of trying to hold together, trying to tie together. This is another quieter painting, just a self-portrait exploring some of my family history. I started creating more, I guess, metaphorical spaces about identity and change, meeting points of confrontation, a lot of self-reflection. The garment became a symbol of personal change, like the way that you can alter and tailor a garment. The lights, just a symbol of guidance, of searching, of hope. I would often go back and forth between creating, these are very large scale, very large paintings, and smaller, intimate works. I began thinking a lot about connection. How is everything connected in this world? Again, the chords as a means to hold together, to sew together. I'm here all the time because I just...
Én csinálok művésztelepet már Budapesten, vagyis Magyarországon 1995 óta. Pályázat alapján lehet elnyerni, hogy kijöjjön, és jelentkezett, és őt választottuk.
Okay.
She can.
Got it?
Say cheese.
Cheese!